Good morning. It's 6 a.m., a little after 6 a.m., Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. And since technically this is an affidavit and I am the affiant, I'd better begin with a swearing. I swear that the foregoing is true and correct. When I make an assumption or point out the things that I haven't seen, that will be obvious to you. But I'm testifying to what I saw or witnessed last night between about the hours of midnight to 1:15 a.m. The real question was Starbucks penetrated last night. I kind of reported briefly, didn't want to cause a disturbance. There wasn't any. I told to one of the employees whose face is new to me. And I did mention the 5-gallon bucket. I mentioned the crowbar and the 5-gallon bucket, but the guy didn't have his grabber. There's a whole, I'll have to get to that later. But here's my proof right here that, she said he might have been picking up trash. So if he was picking up trash, you remember the orange soda pop cup that was put out yesterday? I got on film. I don't know if you can see it under this low light level, but it's still right there exactly where it was at yesterday. I'll get to that. There used to be a meth head who used to come up here during the wee hours, and even one night brought a friend with him, and best of my knowledge, and just went around kind of picking up. And anyway, that's kind of part of my proof that why didn't he pick up that obvious piece of trash right there? Am I getting it on camera? I don't know if you can see it. I'm pointing my finger right at it. Orange soda pop that's on film yesterday, same exact location, hadn't been moved a millimeter. Let me get to the point. At midnight, I was reluctant to go to sleep because I had, just before that, had discreetly bathed with my pants on. So I was refreshed, alert, and observant when a white truck came in to Starbucks and parked right close to the door, just the one that would be north of the door, with his headlights pointing right exactly into my eyes, sitting on the bench, and sat there for a full half hour. And during that half hour, where I was getting more and more irritated that he didn't get out of the truck, while he was there, I noticed another vehicle come in briefly, park in head front, and it exactly matches. And it has both of them had them older truck, kind of the dimmer lights, not these new super bright ones. And it actually parked right where the sign was blocking it. But I got a good enough look of it coming and going that it exactly matches the vehicle. Although I didn't, with that little brief look, today I noticed that there was a real sketchy looking, it was a 20-year-old vehicle and dusty, and it had some either adhesive or magnetic pop-a-lock, which is a term for a locksmith who are legally entitled to carry. See, this is I can't testify to having seen him do anything other than be like their second or third drive-through customer this morning right after I reported it. He suddenly shows up here after he apparently was here. But he was hanging around that 7-Eleven parking lot doing nothing, sitting in the car in the afternoon when I went in. I went up there to drop off some trash and pick up a couple of packs, cigarettes. And that's what I noticed. But then I'll get to it. I have to do this in a chronological order so that I don't appear to be some kind of thanks for the lights, buddy. I don't appear to be some disorganized schizophrenic making up tales. So he actually sat there in that truck And actually, while the other vehicle came in, and he was, the lights were kind of from his head, they were on for a full half hour. This has occurred between about midnight and 1:15 a.m. So I've only had, because I woke up at 4 a.m. I think even uh, somebody had been dropped off there. I think there was one employee in at Starbucks, but then another showed up, and so the lights were beginning to come on again because this person in the white truck gained entry to that building, Starbucks, during the night. Saw him go in and out. Anyway, I'll get to it. So during the first half hour where he sat in the truck, the other vehicle came in and out. And bear in mind that locksmiths are entitled to carry what the CIA used to carry and stuff. So they always show you how picking locks and stuff like that. No, there's a thing called like a key gun. I think I said gun key, which might have turned a key gun, and you just push it up like you have keys. It has a little kind of small pistol grip on it, and you just squeeze it, and it'll open any lock. Can't say any lock, but after the vehicle left, I did notice it. Anyway, so there was a possibility from my observations that while I was mostly focused on him and getting that he could have easily gotten out and popped the lock on that door, because that's exactly what he's got on the back. It's a dark colored sedan. It's almost probably 20 years old, dusty looking, black male, or the cop's supposed to say male black. And I'm just trying to figure out how he got that door open, because they're not, to their knowledge, the morning shift couldn't tell me whether or not I asked, was there an employee or an agent here between that time? I was just trying to let them know that I was watching. I was wide awake and alert. Once I laid down from just sheer exhaustion, I fell asleep. That's after he'd left. So I didn't get to go to sleep till after 1:15, so I've only had about, less than 3 hours sleep. But I'm pretty refreshed. Forgive my voice. I did a little reverse snoring last night. That's pretty clear. Kind of tears up my soft palate. Let me get on with the facts. This is an affidavit, just available for the public, because I don't really need to. It's only like the third time I've ever been in Starbucks. I think the first time was, anyway. So after about a half an hour, and I figured, it's cool. It's a good temperature. It's actually pretty nice now. Figured he had his window open, and I was just going loud enough for him to hear, because my voice projects. I said, "That's so considerate of you to leave your lights right in my eyes, blinding me." Maybe this is supposition. Maybe he had a reason for just sitting in the vehicle and leaving it lights on me for the first 30 minutes. Bear in mind, my phone is still on. I'm still timing things. My phone was on all night, so I had the alarm set. It just went off a little while ago. So he finally slowly turns off the light, finally opens up the driver's side door. And then during the process of the stuff that I'm about to start describing, I eventually noticed that the passenger side door opened up, and it appeared to be a person with dark hair, dark skin, and dark clothing was accessing the passenger side. The one camera that they got is actually just focused on the They may have internal. That's what I'm counting on, because the guy was in the building. Didn't really see him take anything in or out. That's my, I swear to that. I didn't see him bring anything out, not in his hands. I didn't see any bulging pockets or shit like that. I didn't know boxes, no nothing. And trust me, I was watching him because for one thing, the guy matches the description of a meth head who used to pop up here, you know, in the wee hours and stuff, and pretend to go around with a bucket and grabbers and pick up odds and try, essentially nothing. Just, you can tell he was tweaking. And one night he brought kind of a helper, actually maybe a couple nights. Let's not forget, I've been here. I'm the only consistent witness here for about 450 days. This staff may not even know what the hell's. And she asserted he may have, since I mentioned the bucket, she concluded maybe he's cleaning up. And there's proof right there that he wasn't cleaning up on the property. Plus, when he had the white food grade bucket, he didn't have a grabber. Didn't see him. And he went around the building and everything. It's at least twice. And now I'm having to, I think he went around the building at least once before ever entering it. Okay. One of the first things I saw him do after the vehicle had come and gone, finally it turned off the lights. He got out from the passenger side, was leaving the door open. Actually, on the passenger side, it was left open for a long time and stuff. And I noticed that he walked over to the Starbucks sign. I don't know whether I can get it in there. And I didn't see anything in his hands. He walked over, he didn't have a bucket, didn't have anything. And then I'm going, I'm thinking, what's he doing over there behind the sign? And he spent several minutes over there. And then when he comes out from behind, because it's a lit sign, when he comes out from behind the sign, he's clearly carrying, especially with my glasses on, my vision is pretty damn good, and especially being well lit in the dark. And that's what was odd, was he was carrying a crowbar, not grabbers. And the crowbar appeared to be, I don't think it was any kind of light, distortion. The crowbar appeared to be spray painted solid silver. Right. Of course, what I'm thinking, that's what really sticks in my mind was, and he had it not gripped at the end like a grabber or stuff. He had it kind of gripped in the middle, and you could see that hooked. It was a crowbar. And now there's a puncture hole in a Starbucks sign that would exactly match if he stuck like the pry end, not the forked end for nail pulling. It's usually on the other end, it's a kind of a chisel shape. And it looks like it, and that's the other deal, but it's on the other side of the sign. Maybe he worked that sign that's in between me and that sign to briefly slip around the front and jab a hole in it. I go past that sign all the time, and you would have noticed, because it's really obvious this morning in the dark that there's a hole in it the size of a crowbar, and it's even flat on one side, and the rest of it's kind of that hexagonal kind of one, but at one point it's flat just like the end of a crowbar. I'm just trying to point out so he goes back, puts the crowbar in the truck, and that's why I'm trying to get this down fresh while I'm still I think it was about that time that he pulled out the 5-gallon food grade bucket, like Mayo bucket, and made a loop around the building. And that's when I noticed, when he came back, that the driver's side door was open and there was another person there that didn't get out at first or whatever, or open the door after, maybe parking over here and walking back. And then after that, he entered Starbucks. What time? Roughly somewhere in the 12:30 to 12:45 range. Please bear in mind, I'm not so much looking at the clock on my phone, agitating it and to get the time. I'm keeping an eye on him because it's in the wee hours and he's acting weird. I have my own safety to be concerned about. And the guy, and he looked identical to the guy meth that used to come up here, and that I couldn't find any connection. I think he was just doing it. I've talked about it in another video, as a matter of fact. And I reminded this lady that I'm the guy that reported somebody came up here and lit up a couple of sheets of newspaper or something on their patio one night and just let them flame up and then kind of blew away the ashes, not leaving any trace. You have a tendency to develop a reputation as a nut if they don't have any obvious, burn. That's right. I did hear him. No, he came out. One of the first things I think he did was, when you're recalling these things, I do have that. I did hear after he got out of the car, and I think actually before going to the sign, he came over and kind of rattled, moved around a chair, or was that the guy approaching? Or somebody moved one of the chairs or tables on the patio. Please, I'm trying to remember in correct order what took more than an hour and 15 minutes. It was sketchy. So at that point, I'm really paying close attention, because with two individuals, that's kind of doubles my. Please don't forget, I've been robbed in that spot. I've had all kind of people, but I saw him enter the building. I didn't really see him performing any kind of work or anything, or he turned on the lights. I'm sure they're not. But please bear in mind that right after within minutes, literally after me reporting it to the morning staff, apparently the manager in charge, because he got the headphones and she's doing the setup while the other employee was setting up at the drive-through window. And he went through the drive-through. Yeah, went around and I think picked up a cup of coffee. I mean, he was the same guy that was here is he really up all night popping locks? I didn't get a close enough look at the sign. It didn't really couldn't really see a business or a phone number on that little, it's about a 14 by 18 adhesive or magnetic. And and the guy was kind of, even after entering the building and being in there for a number of minutes, maybe 10 or more minutes or 12 or even and stuff, it just turned the lights on, just saw him kind of moving around, didn't really see him shift or really touch anything. And he came out, and you know, if it's not like one of those, uh, but they would have a deadbolt. He would have had to have the key gun to have locked it again, because they enter usually just through the front. The employees usually always come in through the front, and then he turned out the lights and locked it up, and still continued to mess around out front, you know, like going into a toolbox and stuff like that. And I also noticed that there was still activity. There was a black male, darkly dressed, that fits the exact same height and slender build and stuff of the guy that sat there for about an hour. So I went right past him, dropping off the trash and going to 7-Eleven. And it's kind of weird to have it. Well, everything's weird. He had it kind of tilted. It wasn't straight. He had an adhesive or magnetic sign where the most readable part was just Pop-A-Lock. You know, I've heard plenty of locksmiths just, you know, that have a company named Pop-A-Lock. It's pretty common. But that he appears this morning, just literally minutes after I informed the staff gave them the time frame if they're going to look at cameras. And he fidgeted around the truck. They weren't even talking in normal voice to each other. They were. I heard some talking, but so low I couldn't. It was absolute quiet too. There was really no other traffic, and I couldn't make out what they were saying. What little they said, it didn't sound like normal working kind of things. And all I know is he was in that building sometime, maybe entered around maybe 10 or 12 minutes before 1, and left, you know, a little after 1 a.m. and then still kind of piddle around and stuff before leaving approximately about 1:15 in the morning. But once they were left and stuff like that, I had a cigarette, laid down, and went to sleep pretty easily, because I'd had a pretty long day between the business calls, the medical calls, the trip, you know, actually 2 trips. I went, I should have got it while the headlights, that orange soda popped up there. That's my proof that he wasn't picking up trash. Even when I've seen this meth head picking up trash, it's just little things here and there. He's never even gotten more than, like, you know, even a 5th or a 6th of that 5-gallon bucket filled and stuff. He just looked like he wanted to do something, or during the middle of the night. It was trying to. So that's pretty much it. But I know, because I've seen them do it, and you know, it's a matter of record. The CIA used to use them for quick entry. You don't have to get down on your knees and do all that. It's called a key gun or a gun key, and it's just like a little pistol grip, and you just slide it in, push it, and it can open up any conventional deadbolt or stuff like that that doesn't have an electronic reader or something in it. They were inside that building, but I can't testify. I didn't really see him take. He didn't appear to have anything bulging in any shirt pocket or pants pocket or anything, and didn't see any kind of bulges or anything coming out. And just the whole thing was sketchy. It was worth devoting my morning cup to making this affidavit. I, Thomas Kent Kruger, swear that actually I should have said the following. I think I said the following is true and correct. But now I say the foregoing, once again, swear that true and correct to the best of my knowledge. And I'm still trying to figure out how he managed to, maybe just briefly, because it's the puncture hole in the sign wasn't made from the side that he was on, which is opposite of my view. But he could have easily just briefly stepped around and jabbed it. And I may have missed it because of the sign and the tree trunk in between me and that sign. But there's a hole in that sign, and there's a number of scratches on the side that he's on. You know, like the flat. I never noticed them before, but to be perfectly honest, I've never really closely examined the sign until this morning. And there's a bunch of, hard to figure out why, a bunch of scratches in the green paint. All over, like especially mostly it seems around the top edge and stuff like that. There's a bunch of them. It would have taken him about the time he was behind that sign for a couple of minutes. And when he came out, he was holding in his right hand, probably right-handed, a silver, what appeared to be, me under the light, a silver painted crowbar. You know what a crowbar is, the classic one with the upturn, and that's pretty much it. He's the guy in the white truck driving, the driver matches the guy I've seen before around here, and he's a white male, about, could be 40. And if it's the same guy, I know he's a meth head. I've seen him before, and he's, you know, I think one of the first times he got close to me and stuff like that, he pretended, because, you know, there have been a couple times where I've had to sleep right here in this spot at night, because anyway, got to keep this as short as possible. And he kind of acted friendly, but it didn't seem genuine. You know, and actually at a distance, I remember him kind of looking at me in a way that I perceived as correctly as he didn't like me. He kind of considered this his nighttime space where he liked to come around and tweak with that little grabber. What, picking up straws or something? Or it's mostly all I ever. So that's about it. I just wanted to get it on record while my memory was fresh of it. Would have done it last night, but then that would have kept me up till 2 o'clock to do the video and get it uploaded. So I'm doing this public because I'm not going to approach the staff again. I just barely had finished telling her when the first customer to walk in was wearing a big old blingy gold tone chain. It ain't gold. And I think there maybe been one drive-through customer, but like what was the second or third drive-through customer was the Pop-A-Lock car. You see my curiosity is why I want to report what I observed last night between about midnight and 1:15 a.m. Because although, like I said, he didn't see him carrying anything in or out, not that I could see. And, you know, some people do stuff like that just for thrills, to see if he can do it and get away with it. If you're doing it for thrills, dude, and think you're going to get away with it, because I don't approve of thieves or thrill seeker. You technically didn't break, but it still would be, you didn't take anything, so you kind of may have been just doing it, but you unlawfully entered, because she couldn't confirm whether there was an employee or agent of, I know how to state things properly. He came up here several nights, and he had some like a Latino dude there wasn't enough trash to even, little bits and pieces to even, why this sketchy, it just seemed like he had found another meth head buddy, and they were coming up here and just pretending to pick up at night. And I've never really seen the guy as a customer. Never seen him come out with a Starbucks cup in his hand or something, none of that. It's always a possibility it's a relative of the owner or something, and he just tells them, I'll go down and pick up, that'll make up for the money. I try to think of scenarios to explain why it might be a legitimate entry. But I don't think so. I didn't hear any rattle, and I didn't hear any rattling of a key ring or nothing, and didn't actually know exactly when the door was unlocked. And I can't honestly say how he managed to relock it unless the gun key was briefly given it to him before he gave it back to the Pop-A-Lock dude. That's supposition. I didn't see any of that. Let's make that clear. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to tag this for Pflugerville PD and stuff. Pflugerville PD, and Starbucks. To Starbucks management, I'm not trying to embarrass your business. I'm trying to protect your business. I hope you understand that that's my true intent. I'm not here to alarm anybody like the Reddit and the Nextdoor app kind of people. I'm just making a report so I can move on with the rest of my day of what I saw in the middle of the night. It's worthy of note. It is now so noted. This is an affidavit, and I, Thomas Kent Kruger, am the affiant. That's what I saw, and the trash is right there. It's not adding up. Plus, there's a hole in the sign. You think I would have noticed it because I've been having to come out during the dark. And this morning, it was real clearly as I go on this sidewalk behind me and go past that sign, I could see the hole in the sign from 15, 18 feet away. I'm going like, yeah, there's a little spot. Let me go take a look at it. And I got up real close and examined it and looked for a reciprocating one. He didn't, because if it had come from this side, on the other side, it would have had it was almost too perfect. Like it was almost like it was cut with a knife, like a knife had been somehow jabbed in and then making a flat incision, and then the rest was round. I was just trying to figure out, I'm not sure he even used a crowbar on that or whatever. I just remember I had one brief glimpse of him where it had good light from the sign of him coming out. There's no other interfering light or other stuff. And in his right hand looked exactly like a silver painted crowbar. So them's the facts. Sorry, the noise. I'll let you go right now. I'm at already about 30 something minutes. And Starbucks management, forgive me, but I asked your morning staff and they had no knowledge, so I want to record this and move on. And I've just described two men. I'm pretty sure that the dark-haired, dark-skinned, dark clothing person, exactly my physique, build, everything, height exactly matches the guy in the Pop-A-Lock car. I just wanted to get it on record. That car was, when I went past it, was so dusty. I'm going like, dude, this is Pflugerville. Most people keep it shiny, and you're in business and stuff. You're supposed to be. I'm assuming, I'm making an ad that he's advertising on his car that he's has a keysmith service, locksmith. I'm sorry, but there is such a thing as a key gun or gun key that can open up any lock that it doesn't have some kind of electronic control over or something, or like a lot of ignitions on cars. It's been too long. I've gotten it out. It's time for me to have my second cup of tea. It's creeping up on 7. I'm actually feel well rested and stuff. I got my, I did. I took my trash up before even going to Starbucks. I'm in order. I got all my stuff in order. I'm clean. I'm fresh. I still didn't take care of that little bit I missed while shaving yesterday. It just doesn't look. The orange soda cup sitting right there, and then like their third drive-through customer of the morning is the Pop-A-Lock car. It may be just coincidence, and then again, maybe not. I'll leave it at that. This is an affidavit. I've made it clear between what I've actually observed and what I'm putting up as supposition during this. Usually during an affidavit, you state only what you know for sure. And I've made a clear distinction between what I clearly observed and my conjecture. That's it. I'm done.